Hey all, and welcome to Discount Bin, a pack of pals reading, digesting, and arguing over fantasy novels in a weekly podcast format. This week is our final round of the Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. Today, we're picking up with Chapter 15 and going until the end of the book. This week, we have the usual suspects. I'm Rick, with Leonard, Lexi,
Hey there.
and Daniel.
Hello. Should we just jump right into the chapter summaries and we're going to start with Nessun, go all the way up until her last chapter, and then we'll do Asun in the middle, and then Nassun's final chapter.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
All right. Nassun. Nassun, Shafa, and Umber are meeting with 3 Orogenies at the Antarctic Fulcrum. The Orogenies in the Fulcrum have killed their guardians. Nassun learns that her mother was trained in the Fulcrum, and that's why Asun trained her the way she did. In a fit of anger, she turns all of the Orogenies to stone. On the return trip, while Shafa sleeps, the Grey Stone Eater named Steel introduces himself to Nassun. He tells her that Shafa does not need to suffer, and he stills the energies causing Shafa's pain. Back in Found Moon, Nassun believes she has found a way to cure Shafa's pain. She's been practicing on a captured bandit by removing a splinter from her. She wants to take the core stone out of Shafa, but he explains that he will die within a couple months if she does. Nassun is feeling helpless and wants to remove his pain anyway. Then she remembers Asun breaking her hand and rationalizing it similar to how she is thinking about taking Shafa's pain away. Wanting to put some distance between herself and Shafa, Nassun decides to visit her father. Jija is happy to see her and offers her food. But Nassun is sick of humoring Jija's delusions and says that it's okay to miss her mom and Uche. Jija gets angry at her and tells a story about how when he was a young boy, an Orogeny lost control near him and nearly killed him. I wish he had stood a little closer. Nassun realizes that there's no reasoning with Jija's hatred, so she tells him that she likes being an Orogeny and she's practicing so that she can be a better one. Jija attacks her, and she ices the house, and puts a small torus of ice between her and Jija. She doesn't hurt Jija, but he is terrified and screaming, slipping on the ice floor, and crawling away from her in a panic.
You go, girl.
She's a
Yeah.
badass.
This was, definitely a certified badass moment. Showing, both her control and, very deliberate icing of the house and not him.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cool.
I did like the explanation of what's happening if you pull that the moon bead out or the earth bead out.
Oh.
Dying. Yeah, I'm just let's leave it in there. I'm gonna die of old age in 2 months if you don't. I'd rather deal with this pain.
Yeah. What was that thing called?
Core stone?
Core stone, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, I think we kind of all assume this by now, but the core point is the hole that goes down to the core on the other side of the planet. So I think it's a pretty safe assumption that it's the planet's core.
I like that Nassun in this chapter, or these chapters, she's just asking Shafa, how are guardians made? Where do they come from? Who made the first guardians?
She's doing everything Asun should have been doing this whole fucking book.
Yeah.
At age 9 or whatever she is right now. 10
11.
At this point? 12, 11?
I think she's 10. Yeah.
Just about 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she shows a lot of emotional intelligence in this and really recognizing that, Jija's just delusional and there's not you can't reason with someone like him. He's just gonna keep telling himself what he wants to hear and keep thinking that he's always the victim and justifying things because he had some trauma as a kid. And
so this is kind of one of my problems with her in general, though. She feels like she's being written too adult, and not and
Yep.
I get it that you have early childhood trauma, and I get that, but there's still a degree of this is almost too good of understanding. This is almost picking up too much at that age, at 10 years old.
Yeah.
I get being shut down and seeming intelligent and seeming good for your age, but I'm gonna kind of fall back to one of Lexi's earlier assumptions about Shafa, but like it's almost trying. And this is actually going with you like this. It makes Shafa a little bit more creepy again in the child grooming aspect when the child is acting like an adult. And I don't know how else to explain that. It's almost like the writer's justifying the relationship a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's not really what's happening. I don't know how to, but
Yeah, like I echoing off that, I do think she like has like grown up and like she definitely her childhood was like cut short as much as you have a childhood in this world. But there's a lot of emotional intelligence that seems a little bit out of place in the reasoning and the logic that she exudes.
I think a lot of it is emotional intelligence, like specifically towards Jija, right? And that was kind of like she was kind of forced to learn that because she spent a
life.
year on the road, and yeah, he's gonna kill her like literally at any moment. He's obviously not super stable when it comes to orogenies.
but
Yeah,
even
and
like her thoughts on Shafa though are still borderline like like I would still say adult like if not misguided, but her reasoning and understanding and taking in that okay maybe I really want to do this but I really shouldn't, as opposed to just kind of being more of a like a childhood reaction like why did she just not try it kind of thing. I That's a little bit less so, but it still kind of plays into the character writing itself a little too with it.
I feel like this could have been a good opportunity to also give Jija more dimension. Like, sure, we got a little bit of his backstory and his experience with an orogeny when he was a child, but it still doesn't seem to justify his entire like manic behavior. I just don't understand how like Asun had a family or like fell in love with this dude.
I don't think they ever suggested she did fall in love with this dude.
Well, he clearly has some feelings for her, so like if not, it was at least one-sided.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be interesting to get like a flashback of something in the last like 10 years of, them interacting at all because we haven't seen that yet. Nasun gets her first, well, actually not her first mega kill, but she kills all the orogenies at the fulcrum. I wasn't entirely clear why she did that other than, she was being upset. She was upset with the fulcrum because, it turned her Nasun into what she is. And she was punished basically because of that, or she had a shittier childhood because of that. But yeah, she just kind of turned everyone to stone.
Like mother, like daughter.
Yeah.
They got I mean, if you count Alabaster as part of the family, which he kind of is, they've got the top kill counts that we know of actively so far in this entire book. By a long shot.
Yeah.
All of our protagonists have murdered the most people.
Yeah. When you have to stop counting people and you start counting cities, then it's not a great sign.
Nasun's was really messed up though. It was really glossed over. Like there was like no explanation. The next scene is like, oh, she left the entire fulcrum with stone statues. It wasn't really clear, why she did it. I don't know. I thought it was very hard for me to understand the process.
There was a combination of like her own upbringing and having that grudge against him because of her mom, but also Shafa's redemption arc and being a little.
At one point, she also said, right, like, oh, we originals cannot be part of the world. We have to craft the world of our own, right? Something along those lines. And she kills all the people like her. That some things in that chapter didn't feel very consistent.
So those orogenies were like acting as the fulcrum, right? So there was no guardian presence there, and so it was just the orogenies keeping to the fulcrum standards. and I think to her that was more evil than that was the evil.
And realistically, too many cooks in the kitchen, you know?
The thing is, she concluded that they were the evil instead of the Guardians, which is the part that really bugged me. Like, if she knew that, she knew Shafa was part of the whole thing, right? Like, she would blame the Fulcrum for their ways, but not Shafa and all the Origins who trained under it. It feels a little hypocritical at that point, and there were a few things that in that sequence that didn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
I think there was, so she doesn't have the information that we have, and she was just coming to the realization that Asun was trained in the Fulcrum, and so she kind of, I think, was just thinking Fulcrum bad, like this is a terrible place and they do terrible things here, and she wasn't thinking about, you know, whether Guardians or Rajni are to blame, and was rather just like, this thing should not exist, and so she killed it. That's how I took it, at least.
I like that.
Given all her intelligence in putting things together, she didn't put together Shafa, Guardian, Fulcrum. That's the part that bugged me. Like,
well, because
she managed to come to the conclusion that Fulcrum is bad, but not Shafa and the other Guardians. That's...
Yeah, I mean, because Shafa is like her new dad, basically, and he hasn't been treating her terribly, you know. He wasn't the one to break her hand. So she just, you know, doesn't view him that way. And, you know, I think she obviously has a bit of a blind spot for Shafa. Like a lot of people do with their loved ones. Any thoughts on Steel coming to see Nasun? They have an interesting conversation about the moon and what should be done, and we kind of find out Steel's plan, which is crash the moon into the earth and kill everyone so that the Stone Eaters can rule or be the only species left.
I'm ready for it. I'm down.
Yeah. I think Lexi said it last time where it's going to be Nasun versus Esun and kind of a little power dynamic. They obviously have different goals. They both want to go grab the moon, and you know, what to do with the moon is two different things.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's going to end up coming up to like family love, and they're just going to get together? They're going to work together in the end. Like they're going to work against each other, and then like Shafa does something stupid, and then Nasun's like, "Oh, I loved you all along, mother. We'll work together with the power of family and love."
I could see the two of them fighting, and then Esun sees Shafa and is like, "No, you're right. We should destroy the world."
It's a very Alabaster thing for her to potentially do.
Yeah.
There's a reason there that would be spoilers for the next section of this conversation, to where it would be in her benefit too. Potentially. Does Esun have any still friends besides for Tonka?
Lurna?
Lurna,
kinda, yeah. Okay, Lurna, Tonka. Sure. Okay.
Tonki.
Tonki. Yeah, not Tonka trucks. My bad.
Tonka truck. Is Yarka's still, right? Tonki's.
Yeah, Yarka is
Should we just move on to Esun? There wasn't a whole lot that happened in these chapters with Nasun. I think the conversation with the Stone Eater is kind of the biggest thread going forward. I mean, you know, she killed the Fulcrum and Omega power move on her dad, which was fucking cool. But
that was the best scene of that whole thing, I think. The freezing house, being like, "We could have killed you."
Yep. All right, this is a longer one. Hold on to your shorts.
Can do.
Esun. Hoa has just come out of the geode. It was the gray Stone Eater named Steel who hurt him. Hoa has been eating the other Stone Eaters to protect Esun. He says that they want to either hurt or use her. When she asks why he's protecting her, he says, "You asked if I was alright." Esun goes to talk to Yika. Yika's with the crowd, trying to convince them that giving in to Steel's demands is a mistake. Esun pulls her away and they meet with Hoa in Yika's house. Hoa tells them that some of the Stone Eaters want to exterminate the humans, and Steel is one of them. He brought an army to Castrima to kill Esun and Alabaster. Esun and Yika discuss Steel's demands and the Com's response. Esun says the Stills can't be trusted, but Yika has lived with many of these people her whole life. Later, Yika and Esun respond to an angry crowd. Cutter has iced the Still. Yika kills Cutter, which pacifies the crowd. Earlier the next morning, Esun hears shouts again. A woman is fighting with Penty, one of the Orogeny kids. When the Still makes a fist, Esun thinks of the fist imprinted on Uche, and she turns the woman to stone. In a rage, she reaches for more power and is about to ice Castrima to the Arctic and back when Alabaster tries to stop her. She comes back to her senses and runs to the infirmary to find Alabaster is dead, turned to stone. Lerna comes in to comfort her. Yika is convinced the Com not to kill her. Alabaster left a message for her. The Onyx is the key. First the network, then the gate. Antimony leaves with Alabaster's body. The next morning, Castrima is getting ready to vote. Esun wields Alabaster's mini obelisk as a long knife and turns the ballot box to stone and tells them there will be no vote. They will be unified or she will kill them all. 2 days later, Esun goes above ground to parley with the invaders from Renanis. They talk for a bit, and then a shirtless guardian stabs her in the arm, shutting off her orogeny. Hoa pulls her through the earth back to Castrima before the guardian can kill her. Lerna patches her up, and they go to meet with Castrima's leadership. The leadership is worried about a spy in Castrima. The people of Renanis had too much information about Castrima. Before they can fully discuss it, Renanis starts their invasion. The Castrimans use explosives to destroy the tunnel leading to the entrance, which buys them time. Tonki has a plan to drive the boil bugs into the Renanis camp, but it requires more power than Yika has. She reveals she knows how to connect to other orogeny like Alabaster did. The effort is likely to kill her. Esun realizes this is what Alabaster meant when he told her to build the network. Yika and Esun go to build an escape tunnel and teach Esun how to build a network. Yika joins her power with Esun's, and Esun can now feel how it's being done because she can now feel magic. Esun takes control. She connects with Yika, Alabaster's mini obelisk, and all of the orogeny in Castrima. Using all the power, she pulls the boil bugs into the Renanis camp, killing them. She pulls them into the tunnels, halting the invasion. Before she's done, something breaks the connection. Esun comes back to awareness of her body, and Hoa is holding another Stone Eater's head. Renanis' Stone Eaters are coming. Esun tells Hoa to take her topside, and he does. She connects to the Onyx obelisk and connects to Hoa. Then she connects to hundreds of obelisks. She can see the entire continent and half of the world. She traps the attacking Stone Eaters in crystals, stopping the attack. Then she turns to Renanis and turns everyone there to stone. She looks for Nasun and finds the Sapphire obelisk in the south, and she knows it's Nasun. She lets go of the Obelisk Gate and collapses. Before she passes out, she sees the Stone Eater made of alabaster. So, before we jump into this real quick, I have a IRL story. At my high school, we had this teacher, call him Mr. B. He married a girl who was formerly a student of his when she was like 21, and he was, probably 50, or he was probably like 45. He was the best man at her parents' wedding. And how do you feel about this story?
Great.
Pretty creepy, right?
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
literally the Nasun-Lerna relationship right now, except with the genders switched. Like, she was the teacher, watched him grow up, and they're not quite at marriage point, but anyway, I just thought it was funny that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're like morally wrong or like they shouldn't do it or whatever. It's just, it's a little creepy.
It's a little creepy, but hot for teacher,
Yeah.
The whole song about it.
Anyway, so I thought this whole debate that the whole comm is having is kind of dumb. This first of all, are the Stills just gonna leave? Is that their plan? And then they're gonna just join the other side, and are they going to try to like actually fight the orogeny? Because there's literally no competition between just. I'm pretty sure Asuna by herself could take out every single person there. I mean, she literally does.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, not always, right? Like she was worried for Penty, right? Like if she wasn't there, like Penty could have been pummeled, right? She's like a kid originally. She didn't
Oh yeah.
like.
But I'm saying like the fact that there's even gonna be that there's even a debate, like there's not gonna be like this bad. Let's say they voted against keeping the orogenies or whatever. How are they gonna enforce that? They're not just gonna leave on their own, right?
Let's feel good.
I think that there would be violence, and I think people would die on both sides. I mean, more humans would die, obviously, but
I think if Asun's there, just all the stills died, like instantly.
I mean, but the stills don't know like how powerful she is, right?
Yeah, but like the orogenies are taking it very seriously. Like they even say at one point, they're like, there's too many of them. Like we don't have enough people to like win this or whatever. And I don't know. It seems very like orchestrated drama rather than like realistic drama.
I'll disagree.
Okay.
Definitely like Lord of the Flies.
I haven't
Like,
read Lord of the Flies.
I haven't either. But like there's a group of people, large group, and they're like isolated. They are threatened.
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna. I don't know. I feel like they don't have all the information that we have.
Yeah.
Are we also going to cover Esun's interlude? Because that kind of concludes her story and talks about what happens to her.
Soon's interlude. What happened?
There's an interlude. There's an interlude with Hoa talking to Lerna, and Lerna mentions something about what about her arm, and he implies that he's not going to eat it, not without her permission.
Yeah.
That implies that Esun has one arm that's actually stone now.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about
That's
Esun's
right.
story to the end,
Oh
right,
yeah.
it kind of,
I just forgot about that.
Yeah. I also have a question too before we get to like that part. So she's pregnant, right?
What?
No.
What?
I don't think she slept with anyone.
Okay.
Is she pregnant? Do you have a pregnant vibe from her right now?
No, because I thought that there was something about like when the last time that Alabaster was like looking through her, like he could assess that she was pregnant before.
That was in Mioff. That was in Mioff.
Yeah. That was like a confusing like couple of lines. Like
yeah,
there were a few lines here that were confusing, but she does explicitly say she hasn't taken the step with Lerna.
Okay.
And I don't think there's anyone else. But
okay, thank you. That was my question.
Okay.
Because there was no other like mention of it later, so.
Yeah. I hope she's not if she's starting to turn into stone. Seems like it might complicate things.
Maybe.
There was like this part where I thought I was kind of right when Alabaster turned into a stone eater, but at the same time, if they actually eat the stone from people, right, then how is there enough left to turn into a stone eater? I'm not really sure what the mechanics are around that.
The mechanic is called magic.
She's just eating and then she's like reconstructing it inside her own body?
I mean, you can't really kill them anyway, right? Like, even being eaten, they still come back after a while.
Yep.
So
yeah, they say they turn them into atoms, and it takes forever to come back, but they're not dead.
Obviously, Alabaster came back real fast.
Yeah.
That's I didn't like it. I'm like, that was the one thing I didn't want to see. I wanted, because it's one of those, it's a rebirth thing again, where it's like, cool, he gave himself up, but did he? Not really.
Yeah.
He gave up his human form.
He didn't. No, not according to them, because they're not human.
So, I was not. I was not. I didn't feel too bad about that. Like, I hate the whole reincarnation, resurrection bullshit too. But I felt like that one was just an example to convey that people turn into stone eaters, right? Like like it felt more like a way to convey like, oh, okay, this is the process of how stone eaters are made, rather than they brought alabaster back. Because I think this alabaster doesn't have the same powers of origin like he used to.
It was totally. I mean, it was totally foreshadowed. This whole book, like, I mean, not the whole book, but it's been foreshadowed enough towards like this is where it was going.
Yeah.
I agree. I just didn't want it to happen, but that also now makes you question a couple other things. Most of these stone eaters are not just a couple minutes old; they're thousands of years old. Do you think Hoa was our first origine, or something along the lines of that?
I love that. That is my new theory.
Because
it seems like when origins use too much of their power, or when they connect to an obelisk, parts of their body start turning to stone, as it's happening to Esun as well. So
I mean, it's clearly like it's ascension at this point. Like that's what they're doing. They're ascending into their next form, or evolving, Pokemon style.
But the thing is, right? Why are all the stone eaters so privy about this information? Right? Are they the same people? Like, is this Alabaster Stone Eater the same Alabaster, or his memory is completely wiped and he's different? Right?
It could be completely wiped.
Because if Hoa or Steel or any of the Stone Eaters who used to be Origines and retain their memories, I felt like they could have shared a lot more information rather than just be quiet all the time.
Wasn't there a passage that was explaining that after like living for tens of thousands of years that they don't really remember? Like I
don't remember what I had for lunch last week, let alone that. Actually, Doctor Who did a really fun thing on that, where what was her name? Basically the girl's guest starring from Game of Thrones on there, and she ended up gaining the power of immortality because of some healing technology or whatever. But she was still human, baseline, so she was alive until the end of time, but definitely couldn't remember shit from 100 years ago anymore because you still have a finite like system of memory. And if that
Hoa remembered enough to know what he looked like as a boy to reproduce this, so pretty sure he would have some memory from that past.
But if that's the case, then probably Alabaster is going to have memory of it. And if that's the case, like I said, I think that makes it like, okay, so how many of these people have been around since day one of this whole Earth exploding thing, since the fifth season started? And it's going to make interactions a little bit more interesting. And at what point now, like, we know that those two things have extended lifespans. How are the Guardians living for 300 years because of the core? Are those cores of Stone Eaters?
I think the core stones come from the core point.
Sure. We don't have specifics yet, but so what do you think would cause the Stone Eaters to live forever or extended? Like, do you think they're of the Earth, or do you think of the moon? Do you think they're of something else?
I think they're mostly magic, right? Because doesn't Nassoon describe steel as just like a mass of silver?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I just
and the obelisks.
I just figured that the magic has a source, not just magic. I still want to believe that we're not just gonna have magic, and like they're gonna come up with some kind of excuse.
Yeah.
Almost sounds like that, right? Now that they described that Nassoon is so much stronger than Esun, how is she stronger? Does she have like a greater mana pool? Like, what is what is stronger about her?
She put all of her points in Int.
Yeah, it's too hard to guess now. It feels like there's
a whole other book.
Too many things going on. Still too many things unexplained. Yeah, it got pretty wild in the last few chapters, so anything could happen at this point. All the obelisks will combine together into one giant obelisk, and that's probably the moon itself.
There you go.
the
obelisk is the final, or the moon is the final obelisk.
Yeah. Anything can go right now. And I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I felt kind of uncomfortable reading some of Nassoon's chapters. You know, as I know we're not talking about Nassoon right now, but it's just even later on. It's just that I felt the difference. Like when I was reading Esun's chapters, I could follow the flow a bit more. And when I was reading Nasun's chapters, it was like, that doesn't feel quite right.
Like, not quite right in what way? Like, you didn't understand. She didn't seem to make sense.
Yeah, there were a lot, like her line of thought. Like maybe I just don't understand her, but I felt like a lot of her way of thinking or her justifications didn't feel very logical. Like the fact that she can become so attached to Shafa with such a brief interaction was just it bugs me. Like her attachment to him is so deep that he overrides everything. Even when she finally figured out that, oh yeah, her mom breaking her hand is like a fulcrum thing, she managed to justify the blame on Fulcrum and Mom, but not Shafa and Guardians. Like, for that kind of intelligence she displayed, she omitted one of the most important connections.
It did come down to her individual relationship, though, right? She already hated her mom. She already disliked her mom. Her mom broke her hand. Her mom was being a jerk to her at a really young age for a long time of her life. And Shafa has only shown kindness to her at this point, right?
It still feels like it was stretched quite a bit.
Well, I would recommend you looking at the different attachment styles that like exist in like psychology, just because this is classic like unhealthy like attachment as a kid. And so she's going to cling to the first person who shows her any like warmth, any protection, and she's going to cling hard. Like this is something that is like documented like in therapy, and
It's not really a short period of time, though, either. Like, they've been together for over a year now, right?
right, but even initially like
Right.
she
I don't think so. Not a year. It took her a year to get down to Found Moon, and then I think she's been there, a while because they traveled all the way to Fulcrum and back, but maybe close to a year. I don't know.
Enough time where it's not like, oh, I've known you for a day and a half. Let's go take over the world.
Esu's story ending felt very similar to the first one. Something big happens, lots of people died, and she's unconscious. Just like the first book.
That's not how the first book ended. The first book ended with, "Have you heard of the moon?"
It's true.
Oh, you're talking about Cyanide.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Yeah. I liked the ending of this book like a billion times more than the last one. This one felt like it actually had an ending, and one of the biggest things for me is just knowing who to like. I can't believe it took 2 books for us to like know what the sides are and who we should be kind of rooting for and who we should not be rooting for, because it's been 2 books of not knowing any of that information.
I'm ready
I
for
still
Steel.
don't know who I'm rooting for after all that.
I mean,
Yeah, do you guys-
Nasun wants to blow up. It depends if you want to blow up the world or you don't want to blow up the world.
I kind of want to blow up the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done with this place.
I like living on it, so I'm gonna go ahead.
Dude,
and
this is like
keep it.
40,000 in the future for now. Like from now.
Yeah, I might be a Stone Eater.
Well, then I guess you've got your politics in play by that point. If Hoa didn't eat you anyway.
I am the Gray Stone Eater.
Okay, cool.
There's a lot of talk about the like Erogenes versus Stills in these chapters, and like just people, and I think the author does a really good job of, showing people's hatred and how it like warps their judgment and like how they view things, and she does it on both sides, right? You get Jija with his just unflinching hatred for Erogenes, and he's like willing to literally stalk his daughter and go up to her and try to kill her, and brutalize his son to death. You've also got Nasun, you've got Esun, who is so convinced the Stills are like all evil, basically, where she's willing to kill entire comms of people, and
they were married or together. Jija
What?
and Jija and Asun. Like you have
Yeah.
these two separate like
Oh,
examples,
viewpoints.
your examples of hatred,
Yeah.
and they were actually.
I know. Yeah. So some of the like things where I think Asun was wrong. She talks about how when they're discussing how much they can trust the Stills, she thinks, but you've lost 3 children relying on Stills, and that's not really true, right? She's lost 1 child. She killed her other child while Erogeny and Guardians were invading, and her and Alabaster talk about how the Stills on the island Miav would have turned on them eventually, and that like completely ignores the fact that they've been there for 10 seasons with living peacefully together, with Erogenes in charge. So it's just, I don't know. Like, hate doesn't always breed logic.
No, it's the opposite mostly.
Yeah. So it's just interesting to see all these examples, and I thought the author did a pretty good job highlighting them, and it was cool. All right, Rick.
Oh no.
Because I know what Leonard's going to say. Do you think Still's fear of Erogeny is warranted?
Oh, I mean, yes. Gonna go with yeah. More. It depends on your perspective. Are we talking from our knowledge or their knowledge?
Either.
I would say from their knowledge, yes. Only in the sense that all they know is that they blow shit up, right? They, as far as like when they're involved, is when like catastrophes happen.
Yeah.
I think that's at least a justifiable reason to be wary of them from their perspective.
Yeah.
It's really hard to separate yourself when your entire community just got doomed because some crazy lady that lost her son bolted and wasn't happy about the situation.
Yeah.
It's hard to like welcome.
I mean, even if you think about Jija's story, right? When he talked about how a friend that he knew lost control and killed another one of his friends so quickly that he didn't even have time to go get help. Like, if that kind of thing is like an ordinary day-to-day thing, right? Don't you think everyone would freak out at the sign of Origines? Like, that could happen anytime, anywhere. Like, his friend just died right in front of him over seconds that he couldn't even control. And you can say that, well, with practice they can control, but that first time there's no practice, and someone died. Can you truly say that that can be normalized?
It's kind of piggybacking off that though. Like, I had I think I just had a subconscious bias there because like I am not comfortable being around people who are holding a gun necessarily or like have firearms on them, right? Like visibly on them, especially if they're like if it's something that is clearly there as a message. Like, it's not that I hate them necessarily, but I'm already going to be naturally wary because they've got a gun on them. Now imagine if like you lost a family member to some errant shooting because someone got angry. Like that would probably be tenfold, and that's an entire civilization of that, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying take everyone's guns away. By the way, I mean you do what you want to do, but personally, I don't like guns being around me.
Yeah. And we've seen in these stories, like, Asun talks about how, stills are dangerous and you can't trust them. But this story has, if we look at kill counts between stills and Erogenes, it's not even close. And I was trying to think of how many.
I think it's natural for her distrust, right? Because
oh, sure.
the
she's
way
on that side.
the way the stills already fear Origines, that is she feels like there could be a dagger at her throat at any moment. She's not paying attention, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think the fear is justified for her and for the Stills, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's a
I think it's
slave.
just with the way of the world, they would be terrified. Should be.
For sure. Yeah. When the woman in Castrema was gonna kill Penty, or was gonna punch Penty, I should say, possibly kill. Soon thought, not one more rusting child, and I was like, that's really rich coming from you, considering your kill count in these books. Like, how many cities have you destroyed with millions of children in them, and just no regret? I don't know. Pretty hypocritical. Obviously, it had a personal connection, but
Well,
There's a lot of
maybe she's-
hypocrisy in general.
yeah,
maybe her thought process was more like screw the world rather than screw these people. Kind of, let's just
well, she does
Why-
immediately after turn and like try to kill everybody in Castrema.
Yeah.
So, luckily, Alabaster does some stuff and stops her.
I think that's the point of that Shafa made, that it's very rare for originating children to be raised by originating parents, because the parents need to be strong enough to steal their children. That's how the origin children make it through childhood without getting their powers discovered or getting out of control, because they need origin parents to kind of hold them along. But yeah, maybe that's why he expresses some regret, like, oh no, maybe we shouldn't have done that. There are not a lot of origins left who had origin parents, and maybe they made a mistake somewhere. I'm still really confused about the whole Corestone thing. Like, the whole Guardian backstory is still a big mystery. Like, sure, we learned one new thing, what that thing is called, but
Yeah, I think that'll be a main focus in the third book, is my guess, because that is like one of the biggest storylines left.
The Stills attempts to gain the power of the Origines to have a fighting chance corrupts the shit out of them because they didn't realize they were putting in the evil force into their head.
I still don't know how all of that has got anything to do with the moon still, in what the Stone Eaters' role in this. It still feels like they are all quite broken up. Really curious how much of Esun turned into stone, though.
I think it was just her arm. That's the way I read it, at least.
Should be all. She can come
Thought
back
it
as a
was
Stone
just
Eater.
her.
Halfway through this book, 3/4 through this book, she's gonna come back as a golden Stone Eater.
Then Nasun is going to start using the Sapphire Obelisk, and part of her turns to stone too, and she freaks out.
Nah, that won't happen to Nasun because she's the most powerful one ever.
Then Esun and Nasun will have a arm wrestling contest with their stone arms.
There you go. Cha-cha. So
I do have a prediction about
Is that-
Nasun and
you think-
Esun and Stone. I think Esun is going to turn herself to stone, trying to save Nasun from destroying the planet, and inevitably herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, seems like they get the power of teleportation after they turn into Stone Eaters, so it'll make it a lot easier for her to save Nasun.
Well, like I imagine she's already going to be there. Like she'll be there. It'll be Nasun versus Esun, and Esun is going to spend all of herself and turn herself to stone with her last final act to save her daughter from doing this thing that's going to destroy the world, including the daughter.
Yeah.
And
I think so,
Nasun
too.
will watch it and see it, and then she'll be like, "Oh, she loved me all along,"
Yeah.
and she'll still destroy the world. GG.
No,
the end.
no. Everything except the last part.
How does Shafa fit in that?
Shafa is going to see his little Demaya, and he is going to kill himself.
Mm,
He's going to rip out his core stone.
I could see it.
what's
So-
his? Which side is he on, though? Is he Team Destroy World or Team Not Destroy World?
I'm pretty sure he's on Team Destroy World.
I don't think it's very clear.
I think he's just
He's-
wants her to make her own decision.
I think he's Team Nasoon,
Yeah.
kind of. I think he's also Team Redemption, which is so stupid because he's not worthy of being redeemed.
Everybody's worthy of being redeemed.
Not Shafa.
Even
Oh,
Shafa.
my bad. Not.
All right, Lexi. Another chapter, another comm killed by Asun. What do you think the moral implications are of her destroying Reninus? You think she was right to do it, or I mean, she's basically it's basically nuclear warfare, right?
It's mercy.
Yeah. I think it depends. Like, you can argue it either way. Like Leonard said, it's a mercy. Like, they don't have to survive through a season. They don't have to resort to cannibalism. That's
Nice
also
for her to
like
make
really.
that decision for millions of people.
It's also like you think it's really evil to kill a bunch of people.
Well, the point is she can. She has the power to make that decision. So who are you to stop her?
Yeah. I think in war that changes morality and the rules, and the fact that this huge calm, was going to destroy Castrima even after her trying to parley with them was a risk that you take when you go to war. You risk losing, and the stakes in this were so much higher. They knew what they were fighting against. The Stone Eaters knew that there were origini there. They knew that there was a Asun there, and they still chose to fight. And I think that is the prize that they won, despite the deaths of millions of people. I think that is. I think it's fair. I hate that the death tolls are like so large, right? But I don't think that changes the fact that that's what you agree to when you go to war.
I was just thinking that she should have turned them to ice rather than stone.
I don't think she could.
It's gonna be a lot harder to move all that stone when they get there.
I think it's
I'm
a
more thinking about
haunting
meat
reminder.
supply. I'm more thinking about meat supply. You can't eat stone, but you can eat frozen meat.
Some people can eat stone.
True.
They were talking about it, right? Like, because they were already short on meat supply, and that they're going to have to resort to cannibalism. You just wiped out all of Redonis. You could have preserved all that meat, right?
I don't think she could use her orogeny through the obelisks. I think that was magic. Like, that could only be the stone turning at that point. I think they mentioned that in the book.
Yeah. I think the obelisk powers is magic rather than classic Earth orogeny.
Classic Earth orogeny.
But either way, Reninus has all the store caches and all the places that they've already plundered, and so I think they'll have plenty of food for the very few people that are there, considering I think Reninus was a huge city.
I wonder if any of the Guardians survived. The Guardians that were with Reninus. Like, I know it was described as a way that her powers affected everyone, but if Guardians, the ones who can shut down Originy, do they have some sort of protection against something like that? I'm really curious. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, as they left, they were ambushed by some remaining Guardians, particularly the one who stabbed her. Just wondering. The shirtless ones seem really special for some reason.
A lot of description of her breasts. I was like, she's about to kill you, and this is like, we're gonna write half a page on where Ethereal is.
I liked it. I liked it because you hear somebody bare-chested, talk about their scars or like maybe their chest hair, but like, because this is a woman, we get to hear about her nipple. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, why don't we hear about men nipples as much?
I know.
They're small, puny things. Not worth mentioning.
Not worth
mentioning.
Pathetic.
I mean, because they're useless as men.
That's exactly how I describe it. He took off his shirt and his pathetic nipples glistened in the sunlight.
Because it's useless on men. They have no purpose.
They have purpose.
If you eat the wrong diet, you can definitely lactate, bud.
right, let's move away from nipples. They had that whole discussion about the spy and how they were concerned about it. I have a hot take that it's Lorna. I think the Steel, the gray, what's his face? Gray Stone Eater. He has probably been following Asun for years, right? Because he probably just noticed her right around when she connected to the obelisk in Alia. And so I think he got to Lorna early, and that's why he's always had an interest in her, and he's been feeding them information, and which is why he was waiting at Kastrima when she got there. Just a random theory.
Maybe Lorna is the Greystone Eater.
Oh shit.
Have you ever seen those two in the same room together?
I think we might have actually when the Greystone Eater made the announcement.
Well, what extent of shapeshifting is there, you know? How much mass can you take up? Can you take 2 bodies at once?
Yeah, I mean, Hoa managed to look very human as
Yeah.
a kid. So
Didn't last long. Okay. I soon get stabbed by the knife with the Guardian and basically recovers right away. Which I was like, didn't we establish getting stabbed by the knife like cuts off your orogeny for it took her like 3 days last time?
She's so strong now.
She built up a resistance tolerance.
She's like the guy in Princess Bride.
Iocane powder.
Iocane powder, yeah.
I mean, she has Obelisk battery now, so she's got more juice.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I shut down Alabaster for a while too.
Yeah, but Alabaster is already on the way out.
That spindle thing is still such a mystery too. Like, she doesn't know what it is, but yeah, she knows how to use it in that way.
She said she like attuned herself to it or something.
We're not gonna get training sequences for everything.
Yeah. You want to move on to Nasoon's last chapter, and then we'll do final thoughts of the book?
Let's do it.
Last chapter is super short though, right? It's like 9 pages. Big.
Yeah. Basically, just one thing happens. All right, Nasoon. Nasoon wakes up as her mother is opening the Obelisk Gate. The Stone Eater Steel explains that someone up north is controlling hundreds of obelisks to destroy her enemies. Jija approaches with a knife in hand. Nasoon knows he's there to kill her. When he makes his move, she calls the Sapphire Obelisk down and it crashes to the ground in front of her, taking the shape of a long blade. Jija hesitates, but then attacks. Nasoon moves the obelisk blade in front of him and turns him to stone. His momentum drives the knife into her shoulder. The statue that was Jija shatters into pieces. Steel tells her that it will never end, and she will kill everyone she loves. There's only one way to make it stop. Use the Obelisk Gate to bring the moon home.
I really like that there's everyone, you're gonna kill everyone you love, so do it faster.
Yeah. Might as well.
I really liked the momentum maintaining with Jija and the knife. It's like, oh yeah, no, I didn't actually stop this from happening. At least getting stabbed. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Her and her mom seem to have quite different capacities of interacting with the obelisks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea how they're going to. I mean, it sounds like Esun found her, though, right? In the very last moment, using the obelisk. So I wonder if after Esun wakes up, she's gonna go looking for Nasoon. Yeah.
Send Alabaster.
Alabaster will get destroyed.
Nah, they're gonna be buds. He's gonna be nice to her for a couple minutes, and then they're gonna be best friends.
Steel is gonna rip him apart and chew him out.
So he did say, I do think Koa versus Steel would be a closer matchup. Like, I know he got beat before, but he was attacked by like 10 other ones at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, children.
Yeah.
The interlude made it sound like Hoa's kind of creepy too. Like he's got a weird obsession with Esun.
I don't think it's weird.
He just felt touched that she asked how he was doing.
Hoa's got the same interaction with Asun as Nasoon does with Shafa.
Absolutely.
First interaction was nice, obsessed for the rest of the book.
Nope.
That's not far off.
Okay, So Hoa was trapped in this red crystal for like hundreds of years, right? And then Esun saves him.
But how you doing?
Did she save him?
Yeah, she crashed the obelisk. She destroyed it when she destroyed Alia.
I thought she lost control of it and then it crashed.
Yeah, she wasn't trying to
Same
release
thing.
him. She had no
Like,
idea.
it was-
that she
okay.
was releasing
Well,
him.
it's just
Her intervention, she caused it. And
all she did was like start moving it to the side, and then she lost control. I just don't
she
understand
froze
how
it from the ocean. And
yeah. I don't know. It was just confusing about how she freed him, or like what was the trigger that he couldn't get past.
Because he was trapped in the crystal, and then once the crystal was destroyed, he was able to leave. Like, he was free.
Okay.
And
I
she
guess
said
I don't
hi.
know how the crystal was destroyed. If it was
I thought
from
it was
crashing,
because-
then she didn't do that.
Yeah, that's the whole point of that whole interaction was saying like the first thing he said was like, "How you doing?" Right after he came up.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was at least the initial. That was regardless of who did it or how it happened. That was
she
the
asked,
first
"Are you
interaction.
all right?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what Shafa did for Nasoon. Shafa shot a spear through Jija's leg and said, "How you doing?" to Nasoon, and now they're buds forever too.
Nasoon is a little girl. Hoa is a fucking immortal statue.
With memory problems.
He almost sounds like he's like a super Terminator among the Stone Eaters. They're so scared of him, they seal him away because they can't kill him or something.
Oh my god.
I still think
Sounds like he's this badass that's going to destroy all the Stone Eaters.
I think what was the original story with the origine guy and the
Oh, the cannibalism?
Oh, the first one?
origine guy or with the king?
Oh yeah.
I think it's
forgot
that.
his name.
I think it's him. I think that's Hoa.
Starts with M something.
That'd be
Yeah.
sick. That'd be so cool.
I think that's Hoa. It's gotta be.
Huh. Maybe in the power, when he confronted the king and his retainer, and he had no heat to use, right? Because they burned the whole city down already. I wonder if at that moment he reached out for the obelisk and amplified his powers further, and that's how. So your theory might check out. Kind of a cliffhanger ending too.
We gotta have to
Oh.
read the third book.
Do you guys know the title? The third.
What's the title of the third book?
The
Stone
Stone
Sky. The Stone Sky.
I just saw that pop up. Stone Sky.
It would be bad if they turned the sky to stone. Personal opinion.
Protective shell. To
Oh, there
prevent
we
the
go.
moon from crashing into the earth.
The
Convert-
Iron Man shell.
Convert the moon into the shell. There's plenty of moon to go around.
So my theory for how this series ends is pretty similar to Lexi's, where the two of them fight. Esun gives up her life because she's not willing to actually kill Nasun, and then Nasun is like, "Oh, she loves me," and then catches the moon, puts it back in orbit, and then if the Obelisk Gate is strong enough to catch the moon, it's got to be strong enough to close up the rift, stop the season, maybe suck all the ash into space or shove it at the core or whatever. Anyone else got any different theories for how this thing ends?
I really kind of think that Asun's gonna kill Nasun.
Yeah.
She killed everybody else. Why the fuck not?
Okay, but we have to think about the foreshadowing from Steel.
Which foreshadowing would that be?
Where he tells Nasun that she will kill everyone that she loves.
This is true. You know what though? Yeah, you're probably right. Asun's due.
She's definitely due. She's
Yeah.
killed a ton of people.
Including she killed one of her own kids. Then Jija killed one of their kids. So now she's gonna kill both of her parents. Patricide. Right? Isn't
Kind
that
of
just
poetic.
And matricide, yeah.
Patricide and matricide.
Yeah. Is there like one that's like a combination of like parental side?
Probably parental side. Parent side.
It is parent side.
Oh shit. All right. Leonard, different theories? Anything for the end of the series?
No, I mean the theory is kind of the same. I mean it doesn't feel very interesting. It feels like if it's predictable like that, then it's not exciting anymore. So yeah, Nasu tries to destroy the world. Esu tries to stop her, sacrifices herself to stop her.
I'm honestly just more excited to see what Tonki finds in the next book about the origins of Origine and Guardians, because she's going to find out that this is all tech driven from.
Well, I was thinking
whole...
about the silver thing, right? The silver thing
Yeah.
could be just some nanobot technology.
The nanobots are back.
I kind of hope it's not robots, but I could see that being like the twist. Since they have definitely introduced technology at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, when science is advanced enough that you cannot understand, then it's magic, right?
I just wonder,
Yeah.
like, here's what I kind of hope. I kind of hope that they don't fucking skip it around. They don't dawdle around. The moon in the first or second chapter is there, and they're dealing with it then, and then we find out some shit's on the moon, which is why we threw it away in the first place.
Oh, that'd be sick.
And then we go forward.
Like the moon was planning. I think they did say that they lost the moon on accident, basically.
Well,
Like that was like an accidental result of building the obelisks. But if the moon is sentient, maybe he was trying to overthrow his dad or Father Earth, and
I want to see something.
I don't think that's it.
I don't think that's it either. I just want to be like, they've been building this all up, and then it's like womp womp, it gets done in two chapters, and then we find out the real threat was like the Omega Stone Eater on the moon that wants to just like chomp down everything or something stupid. Like
maybe origins are moon people.
That's what I thought right from the get go.
Yeah, that's been thrown out there.
Yeah, like
So if the father is Father Earth, and the child, let's say he's male, does that make him Sun Moon?
Yes, thank you for that, Daniel.
Sun Moon joke. All right.
Very good, very good.
Thank you.
I hope you start that before the intro on this podcast. I want you to start with that, and then we break into the intro.
I thought you were gonna make the monsoon.
There we go. All right, so book 2 done.
What does the sun have anything to do with this? Asun, Nasun, it's all suns.
Book is done. How many stars are we giving this? We'll go through it one by one. Lexi, you want to kick us off?
Before we do that, real quick.
Out of 10.
What were the stars from the first one? Did we give stars for the first one?
I think we just gave impressions.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go with stars. Out of 10.
Stars. I have to also give the first book a star rating because
Sure.
I'm gonna say the first book was like a solid 5. Say that this one, book 2, was a solid like 6.5.
Okay.
I liked it more, but I still don't love it, and
yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, Rick.
It's not the worst things I've read, right? But like, it's just really hard for me when they introduce like certain things when it felt like they're avoiding it. I do think that this one's better, so maybe like a 4.5 to a 5, like 4.5 for the first one and a 5 now, because I'm like still not super into it. But it's not bad. Like, it's not. I don't feel like it's poorly written, right? It's just like it's hard to say. Let's say 5 and 5.5.
Okay, Leonard.
6 and 7. I mean, it's good enough that you keep reading, right? Like it's not like shit, I can't read another word of this. So to me, if something can kind of keep me interested, deserves a 6 at least. But I'm hesitant to give it an 8 because I think I will only give 8 to books where I'm like, I cannot put this book down. I need to see what's happening in the next chapter. I didn't get this feeling at all from this book or these 2 books. Like, the chapter concluded and I didn't feel very invested that, shit, I need to see what happens next, right? Yeah. 6 for the first, 7 for the second.
I do kind of want to preface all this to like 5 and 5.5 isn't like an F on a grading scale. If I was gonna give it like an A through F, it'd probably be like a B minus, right? Like I've read some awful things in the past too, so like B minus and B. So if you want to make that to an 80 or an 8,
We're doing stars.
I know.
Just stick with what you went with.
The only reason I'm saying that is because like a 5 makes
Okay,
it
we
sound
do
like
moons.
it's awful, but it's not bad. It's not like it's still readable. That's all I wanted to say. Okay, Daniel, what about you?
So for the first book, definitely like a 4. I did not like the first book pretty much at all. I didn't really like any of the characters, and the stories were not that interesting to me. And this one is probably like a 6.5, because Asun, despite being a mass city murderer and being completely out of control and ready to kill people at a drop of a dime, is finally like using her brain and trying to get some information and trying to actually do something rather than just, book one, she's just walking around. So yeah, with the 6.5. I definitely enjoyed this book way more than the first one, and curious to see how it's all going to wrap up. It does kind of feel like maybe like there's not enough content for the third book. It feels like they just have to have this battle, so it's like basically just practice using the Obelisk Gate and
Yeah, but like that's one of
then
those.
do it.
It's hard to say with that too, because they're going to run into some like, oh, we've got to go track down this side quest before we can finish the thing, right? Like we gotta unlock these 7 doors or something stupid, or we have to walk to Mordor. Like there's going to be something to do,
And I think
that's
they have
gonna eat
to
up
walk
most
to
of the time.
Reninus.
right?
I think it's going to go a lot more into Stone Eaters and Guardians. Like we still don't know shit about Guardians. It feels like, and for Stone Eaters too. We know they used to be cool, but that's all we know about them.
Do you think
how
do you not consider them human?
they don't consider themselves human? Like in the conversation with Hoa, it's yeah. I mean, there's just too much mystery left. In fact, I think just covering their backstory will take up a huge chunk of the book if they have any backstory, or maybe just a huge explanation into how the moon disappeared, how the season started, what that stone in the Guardian's head is, where the Guardians came from. I think there are enough questions for the whole book. I don't know how long the book is though. So,
what's the yellow circular sphere stone that's
Oh,
in
that's
Tonki's
right.
family thing?
oh, maybe that's the core stone.
I still think it's like a combination of that silver stuff that Tonki touched is like encompassing Sisipines, and that's what's making the cores for these Guardians. And you need an origine to make those.
Okay.
Interesting.
And whatever this core Yellowstone is like the opposite. It's like the original Sisipine, like the OG Sisipine that Hoa dropped when he turned into Hoa.
Oh man, Hoa's gonna eat that and become human again.
I hope, yes. Or he becomes the moon.
Like, he is white as fuck. White as heck.
Yeah, you watch that language on this PG podcast. Where we're talking about infanticide and parental side.
Yeah. I think that wraps it up.
Yeah.
Rick, you want to dance us out? Play the tune?
I don't remember what the tune was. Do we have that written somewhere?
No. It's just generic. Thanks for being here.
Hey, okay. Hey, thanks for coming. God damn it. I'm shocked. Oh, fuck. Thanks for joining us at Discount Bin. We'll be back next week with the first section of the final book, The Stone Sky. Until next time, bye!
Bye!
Bye, y'all!
Bye.
Is that a roast beef sandwich, Rick?
It's babka.
Vodka.
So there's this Polish lady who there's this like communal store about 20 minutes away of like a bunch of local like artists and stuff. And every Friday, this Polish lady comes in with like babka and other like Polish bread dishes and cakes and things, and she sells them. They're all homemade.
That's awesome.
This one is almond raspberry babka.
Is it good?
Oh, it's fucking amazing. She got like this double chocolate one. Let's see: flour, sugar, yeast, sour cream, eggs, butter, salt, almonds, almond extract, and raspberries.
Fuck
And
yeah.
Fucking good.
On cue.
She's just, dude. You were just out. What do you want? You want a treat? What can we do to stop this? I don't have anything long for you to snack on, but maybe it'll be something new.
Just put in your lap for the intro.
She's like 85 pounds, dude. Like even that is like, oh my god. By the way, so these goats, these guys are gonna get like 85 pounds or 80 pounds, and one of them is so like Guinness is so charging me all the time right now. It's fun and cute because he's small, but when he gets to 85 pounds, even though he's tiny, I don't. I'm just
You're gonna
curious.
be so bruised.
All right. Here.
You need to set up security cameras in the pen so that you have video of that.
Video evidence will be
So-
required.